if I told you that the one thing standing between you and your breakthrough isn't your circumstances or your past or even your resources? Change was not a feeling, but it was a decision. That feeling might come after you take action, and I'm allowing my decision to guide my actions. You are going to have to choose your assignment over your feelings every single day. Your assignment is bigger than your feelings. You see, most of us are waiting. We're waiting to feel ready. We're waiting to feel confident. We're waiting to feel motivated, or we're waiting to feel qualified. But what if I told you that that feeling might not come? Today, we're going to talk about something that literally changed my life. When you think about the women who you see boldly walking in purpose, what if I told you that they didn't wait for the feeling either? They made a decision, and that decision led to action. Can I get real with you for a second? Welcome to the Called Women Show, where your yes is breakthrough for others. I'm Coach Tiffany, and today we're going to have a conversation that I know is going to be life changing. My assignment requires me to be up every Monday morning in front of the camera live. Okay, that is what God has called me to do. But y'all, I'm not a morning person. I'm not a morning person. So when God asked me to do this, I said, "Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want me to do it in the middle of the day? You don't want me to be the night show?" He said, "No, I want you to start them off in the morning." And so many times when the alarm clock goes off, my body literally says, "No, give us one more hour." And though my body and sometimes even my emotions doesn't feel like it, my assignment requires it. And there are so many days that I literally press through and push through. Why? Because I've made a decision, and I'm allowing my decision to guide my actions. Now, listen, if you stay with us to the end, I've got something extremely special for you. I've got a free gift to help you build your daily victory routine and choose your assignment over your feelings every time. Are you ready? Let's get into it. So, of course, I want to start in the word. I want to start with what the Bible has to say about this topic. In John 5, we see a man laying by the pool of Bethesda. And I think there's a lot that we can gain from this story, from this experience. Jesus meets him. He walks by this pool. And just for context, this was a pool where angels would trouble the water, and those who were in need of healing could receive that supernatural healing. This man has been laying by the pool for 30 plus years and has not yet received his healing. And so Jesus meets this man and he walks by. And the very first thing that he asks him is, "Do you want to be made whole? Have you decided that this is what you want?" And the man actually kind of leans back a little bit more to excuse. He says, "Well, I don't have anybody to help me, or I don't have anybody to put me in the pool." But in verse 6, Jesus does something really powerful. He gives the man the opportunity to make a decision, and he tells him to rise up, which might seem small, but the reality is he was going to have to believe that his legs were going to work, that they were going to do something that they had not yet done. He was going to have to exert energy and effort and trust in something that might work or might not work, that he had not had a track record or history of that thing happening. It was going to require a decision to believe, but then also to put action behind that belief. And when he decided to rise up past his fear, past his doubts, past the part of his mind that was probably saying, "What do you mean?" Right? If it was that simple to just rise, I would have did that, right? Are you sure? Is this going to work? I'm sure that when Jesus told him to just literally rise up, that there were so many things that went through his mind. And the only thing that allowed that miracle to truly manifest was him acting on what Jesus said, and the action came from the decision. I'm not going to talk about you, I'm going to talk about me. There have been moments in my life and in my business that were where the rubber meets the road, and I had to decide that enough is enough and today is the day. And many of those times I didn't necessarily feel something different, but I just made up in my mind that I will not let this continue any longer. And you know what? Whatever I have to do, I'm going to do. And I might have still felt the fear, the nerves, or all of those things, but it was my mind that locked in and said, you know what? I am deciding that this is the moment. I am deciding that, you know what? Enough is enough. And something powerful happens when my mind says enough is enough. Watch this. There were even times where maybe I was confused. I felt like I needed a little bit of clarity. I wasn't really sure, but something about locking in and deciding that, you know what, I'm not waiting. This is the moment. All of a sudden, the answer got more clear. I looked at the same thing I had been looking at and went, oh, I know what to do. I'm not as confused. And I realized that it was my fear and my feelings and my emotions that had been clouding my judgment. But the moment that I said, you know what, I'm not waiting anymore. I don't care how I feel. I don't care how it looks, this is the moment, everything got more clear. And the reality is, it's interesting how the science of how this even works in our brains that when I create a win, even a small win, my body reacts in such a way where it actually motivates me to keep going. And so the reality is, many times I have noticed that my clarity followed my conviction. That the moment I made a decision, everything began to line up. And it was because I was no longer allowing my feelings to run the race for me. So, listen, you might be saying, Coach Tiffany, this feels real good. This sounds really good, but break it down for me. Give me some practical steps I can implement right away. Is that you? All right. So, get out your pen because that's exactly what I'm about to give you. So, step one is I want you to write a list of your current priorities, and I want you to write them in order. Now just work with me because we're going to build on this thing, okay? But here's the reality. Different seasons of our lives, priorities are different. And so I can remember becoming a mother and having to add that into my list of priorities. And then as I have a teenager now, but I can say over the years, case in point, I remember when my son shifted from pre-K to kindergarten. We chose a very rigorous school for him, and I knew that stepping into his educational journey, that priority was going to shift and that I was going to have to really make some changes in my life, right? So, your priorities and how much of your time and energy is given to what really changes depending on what season you're in. And sometimes we don't take the moment to even really assess what's priority right now. Maybe this was more of a priority than that in the previous season, but now they've switched and I've got to build on that. So I want you to start, and I don't want you to assume that you've already clear. I want you to sit with God. If you're married, sit with your spouse and really list out right now what are our priorities and what order do they fall in. Maybe it's God first, and then self-care, and then your marriage, and then your put your priorities and write them down in order. All right, now here's step two. You ready for this one? I want you to build your victory routine. Now, I'm going to say something. It's going to hurt first, but it's going to heal second. Okay. Your life is not going to change unless you change something you do daily. And I'll tell you, one of the personal convictions when God really began to elevate me in my assignment, he gave me the word routine. And it was actually funny enough, it was our one of our founders, Jamal Miller, who had did a teaching, and I left that teaching so convicted about upgrading my route. I realized that my routine didn't match my passion and my assignment. And so here's what I typically encourage people to do. After you write out your priorities in step one, I want you to look across your week. I want you to pull out a blank calendar and give it a look across 7 days. Okay. And I want you to, in order, we're going somewhere. I want you to block in space where each priority has uninterrupted, dedicated time. So we're going in order. So if God is my first priority, when does He have uninterrupted, dedicated time on my schedule? When am I praying? Maybe I'll plop that in for first thing in the morning. When do I worship? Maybe that's Sunday, maybe that's Saturday, right? When do you worship? When is your Bible study? When is your intimate time with God? Put that on your schedule. Then if you're second, when do you do self-care? When do you nourish? When do you take care of you to make sure that your cup stays full? Then if it's your marriage next, when is date night? I'm helping out some husbands. When do we spend uninterrupted time? Then, if it's our children, when do we have family time or when do we spend time with the kids? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Then, if it's my business or my ministry, when am I working on that business? When is set time? Not just kind of whenever, but what's the day and time that I say, this is when I'm working on my business? I'm not available to go to the movies or to hang out or to do the things because this is consecrated time to my business. And here's what you're going to find as you build a routine around the things that really matter, you're not going to be feeling so scattered and feeling like, man, when am I getting it done? Because you committed time for those things that are priority. And finally, step three, you are going to have to choose your assignment over your feelings every single day. Now, lean in for this, okay? Because every day you are going to wake up in what I call the decision valley. This is not a one-time decision. Every single day, your assignment is going to want you to vote one way, and your flesh is going to want you to vote another way, and you are going to have to decide which way you are going to vote. Galatians 5 and 16 breaks this down for us so wonderfully. It literally says to us, walk in the spirit and don't fulfill the lust of the flesh. And here's the thing, I think that we think about the lust of the flesh just being sex or all these different things, but the lust of the flesh can also be laziness, can also be you choosing to hit snooze when your assignment needs you to get up. And so God is telling us in his word, I need you to choose the spirit. I need you to choose to walk in your assignment even when you don't feel like it. The enemy knows if he can get you to live in your feelings, not feeling motivated. I don't feel it today. I didn't wake up on the right side, and all of those fleshy and carnal things that we say. He knows that if he can get you to live there, you will not consistently walk out your assignment. You'll do it sometimes, and then sometimes you won't, and you'll get sometimey results. Sometimes people will be blessed, and sometimes they won't. Which, watch this, also means that God can't fully depend and trust you, because he doesn't know if this day or the next day you're gonna say, oh, never mind, right? But if we say, God, for you I live and for God I die, and I've given you my yes, you can call me whenever. That lifestyle requires that even when I'm tired, even when my heart is broken, even when I'm unsure, even when I'm a little disappointed, and even when my body just flat out says no, I say yes. That I take the power back, that I stand in the dominion and the authority that Christ has given me. It amazes me that we believe that Jesus died on the cross, rose with all power, and gave us that power. And yet, sometimes we don't choose to use that power. Are you telling me that your feelings are more powerful than the spirit that raised Jesus from the dead? Because that's what lives in you. And if that's what lives in you, it has the ability to supersede how we feel. We got to give God his blood's worth. That Jesus died a gruesome death, but rose with power and gave it to me. I'm going to live in that power. And I promise you, you're going to have to use it daily. Do you think I had to use that power this morning to get up? Let me just help you out. I sure did. Because my own body said, you sure you don't want to just hit snooze one more time? And my body said, hit snooze, but my assignment said, rise up and go do what you are called to do, to be obedient to the calling. I have to choose my assignment over my flesh every single day, and so are you. But I believe that you're going to love the fruit and the results that come from that radical obedience of saying yes again every single day. Can I decree some things over your life for a moment? Listen, I decree and declare that you are done waiting for permission from your feelings. You are done letting yesterday's pain dictate tomorrow's purpose. I decree that you will create routines that honor the calling on your life, that you will structure your days around what God has assigned you to do and not what feels comfortable. I decree and declare that when the moment comes, and it will to come today, this week, when you have to choose between your feelings and your assignment, that you will boldly choose your assignment. You will get up. You will show up. You will do the thing that God has purposed and calling you to do. You will get up. You will show up. You will do the thing. Because listen, your assignment is bigger than your feelings. Your calling is greater than your comfort, and your purpose is more powerful than your past. Do you receive that? Listen, if you receive that, I just want you to put I receive that in the comments, okay? All right. So we got to close this thing out with a practical application. I wouldn't be a coach if I didn't give you a little homework, okay? This is going to help you actually see fruit from the conversation that we've had today, and not just to feel good, but really see it in your life. And so, number one, I want you to identify one area where you've been waiting to act because you've been waiting for that feeling. Okay. And from that thing where you're like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this and I'm waiting for a feeling, I want you to create a routine. I want you to go to your calendar and say, okay, every Saturday or every Wednesday, when am I going to actually move the needle forward on this action I'm supposed to be taking? And once you plop that into your calendar, here's the next thing: you're going to practice the decision. Every morning, every day, or however often you are working on that thing, you are choosing that assignment over the feelings, over what happened that day. You are honoring God by saying, I'm actually going to work on this regardless. Are you in? Let me know. Has this episode been a blessing for you? I pray that something that's been said resonated with you. I pray that it will take deep root in your spirit and your heart and really, really bring forth fruit. Remember that your breakthrough is on the other side of your commitment. Your freedom is on the other side of your decision. So maybe let's elevate your prayers. Maybe let's stop asking God to just change your circumstance and ask Him to give you the strength to change your choices. Now, I made you a promise in the beginning of the show, and I'm going to honor it now. Okay. I told you that I had a special free gift for you, and I do. We've created the Spiritual Season Assessment. This tool will show you what season you're in right now and what might be holding you back from stepping fully into your calling. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's timing, maybe it's something you haven't even identified yet. But this assessment will give you clarity so you can move forward with confidence. Use the promo code CALLED at checkout to get the assessment free today. Click the link in the description and don't wait until you feel like it. Do it right now. Your assignment is waiting, and it's time to get the clarity you need to choose it over your feelings. Remember, you don't have to feel up. You just have to get up. Your assignment is waiting for you. And so is God. Honor His investment in you in this season and choose your assignment over your feelings.